Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Adam Byers, I see the whiskey tastes a little better tonight. Horns up, guys. Tran, I got my
Well,
CH Taylor tonight. Got the horn. Got the horn. Man, I'm excited. Hang on one second.
what's up?
Hang on one second. Tran, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
I can hear myself like playing through on the. I
Do
can
you have
hear my.
YouTube up on the sidebar? You might have to put that on mute.
I think I'm good now. All right, back to the. Sorry for that. I was like hearing myself, and it was bizarre, but it was another. Anyway, Quinn Ewers, Tran commits to the University of Texas, the
He
number one
did?
overall player in the 2022 class. Quarterback, South Lake Carroll, the Dragons. It's when you look at 24/7 and all the recruiting sites, highest rated recruit, perfect, composite rating.
100%.
And when you go back to the likes of one Mr. Vince Young, that's the level we're talking about here. So I just want to get your immediate reaction as I start reading through the chat here. Guys, we're all excited as UT fans. Make sure you smash that like button, show us some love. I'm thrilled to be here and celebrate with my CH Taylor whiskey. And Tran, it's all yours.
Sounds like you're paid by them, huh? Push to that as your whiskey brand to whiskey.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So I'm the first person to always say, there's so much time between now and 2022 for things to change.
Indeed.
But we deserve to celebrate this one. We haven't gotten a number one overall player since, like you said, Vince Young. And this may be the thing where a bunch of dominoes fall, where we start getting a whole bunch of players. This could be that's what happened with that amazing 2000 class,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just refreshing news just to see that we've gotten a lot of good news recently this past week. I'm a little afraid to get too excited because something could the rug could be pulled out from underneath us. But I was watching video on him. Actually, I haven't really been paying attention that much to recruiting. And our friend Pat Frierson was the one who said, hey, look at this kid. He told me this about him about a year and a half ago. And I watched video on him. I was like, oh, he's a pure pocket passer. He may fit well with the Herman and Yurcich scheme, but then he started breaking off runs. And I started seeing his speed running away from, they're high school defensive backs, but he's still running away from defensive backs. So that got me a little excited, but his touch passes looked perfect. So I'm extremely excited about the recruitment of this kid. Our quarterback room looks a little busy right now. So what are your thoughts on that?
The quarterback room is one of the best I've ever seen. I
Here in
mean,
Texas,
like overall, I mean, this is starting to mirror what the potential to be what you saw at Ohio State with like JT Barrett,
mm-hmm.
Haskins, and Joe Burrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like where they were just kind of stacking them up, which is kind of funny because that's where Tom Herman came from. Tom Herman also won a national championship with, Braxton Miller and 12 gauge in there and JT Barrett as well, right? So they came from the aspect of stacking the quarterback room. And so when you look at, you mentioned the touch passing and whatnot. This is a different level of a passer here. When you look at generational type of talents, like the way that people feel about Trevor Lawrence, there's an ability that you see with Quinn outside the pocket. And that there's before I even get to my analysis in terms of the player, I felt good knowing his background with the father and the parents being Texas fans and the connection with the Dodge family. Obviously, Todd Dodge was a former Texas quarterback here in the
mm-hmm.
80s, and that whole connection there. But where I going back to him as a player, you look at the throw, they're getting beat by Duncanville in that playoff game, and he's rolling to his left, and he gets annihilated.
Blitz.
And he hits a dude 55 yards, flick of the
on
wrist, right?
the button.
On the button between the 1 and the 1, right?
Yeah.
The guy in the end zone. And when you look at his ability when the pocket's clean to fit the ball into tight windows, 20, 25 yards, when you have elite arm strength, true elite arm strength, those throws are gotten difficult for you. It's very similar to what we saw. I was a senior in high school in 2006. So when Matthew Stafford came out of Highland Park, because that was my initial comp for him, was like a baby Matthew Stafford, especially the way he throws the football and changing his arm angles. That's another thing I've noticed. He will go sidearm sometimes, by any means necessary to get the ball out of his hands to a receiver. Quinn Ewers would deliver, right? So, and then you look at the program that he's in with Riley Dodge and how he's being developed, high level 6A program at South Lake Carroll. It's unreal how skilled he is and what he's already shown as a sophomore in high school. This kid still has 2 more years of high school football ahead of him. Yes, we have to kind of temper expectations from a standpoint of, to your point, it's still a long way away, right? Nobody signed anything. As Charlie used to say, the fax hasn't come in, and we still have to continue to recruit him. But the one thing they can do with Quinn is turn him into Brian Carrington of DFW, right? Go get your friends. Go get, and I'm not just talking in the DFW, I'm talking about nationally, because you're the number 1 overall player in this class. And like you said, you're a number 100, you're an all-time recruit, right? You're a generational recruit. He has a better score right now than Trevor Lawrence. Now, is he a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence? I'm not here to debate that right now. I'm just happy
Time will
the kid
tell.
picked Texas. Right. But in terms of, you look at some of the throws, man, over the middle, to the sideline, on the run, movement skills, in and out of the pocket, and then on top of that, yeah, he does have the mobility. He ran for over 500 yards. So he can give you all of those things. And now I say, you know what? Let's go have a conversation with Caleb Burton and who's here in Austin, Texas at Del Valley, right? And go partner up and let's make this thing a package deal and really get serious about being back on the map truly as an elite program, the way we've seen other guys at this level elevate their programs.
Yeah, no, and so along with this big time, because this is a big time get, and you're going to see other blue chip prospects, especially on the offensive side of the ball, want to play with him. What record do you think we need to have to make sure that we shore up that recruiting class from this? 8-2 at least.
At least, and they can't drop those games. They've got to play up to the expectation level that we know they can do, right? Injuries aside and things that are outside of their control per se, but the maturity that we want to see from the 2018 class up, that was at one point number 3 in the country, and we have very high expectations for them. We've also seen the coaching staff mature. And so there's a lot of people I want to give credit to today as well, because Mike Yursich was, the second name mentioned by Quinn on the commitment. And hopefully he's still here in 2020. If everything goes right, and he's going to be one of the hot names,
throw all the cash at him.
Oh, absolutely.
All the cash
absolutely. He's going to have to be paid like another head coach, honestly. If things go the way we think they will, and the way that they're recruiting this quarterback room, you talk about your recruiting coordinator overall, Brian Carrington, and Tom Herman. Tom Herman's background and credibility. We've been, the fan base has been we've put a lot of pressure on Tom Herman. We've switched out the coordinators, but the one thing that remains consistent is his ability to recruit the quarterbacks, right? His ability to coach the quarterbacks. If I'm Quinn, I am looking at the development of Sam Ehlinger for what he was when he got here in 2017 from Westlake to now, where we both believe that he still has some room to grow as a NFL prospect. But this is a kid right now, and I hate to even go this far out, 2025 NFL draft, I said this with the Brockemeyer twins. When you are getting that level of a player, you're already mocking yourself to say, hey, we've got to be at the top tier of the draft moving forward. And with that type of skill set, when you're 15 years old and you can throw a football 60 yards on a dead sprint rolling to your left, getting hit in the face, there's not 10 people in the NFL that can make those type of throws, right? So he's trusting Mike Yursich and Tom Herman to get him there. Now the recruiting and all that, when you're a big name like that, I think they can build around him.
So there's a lot of talk about the Brockemeyer in the chat. Let's be honest. I mean, they're probably not coming to Texas. They're staying committed to Alabama unless we get Sam Cosmi drafted probably in the first round. I mean,
well, Sam Cosmi would have to be mocked there because they're going to probably sign in December to wherever they go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'd have to be a legitimate talk of a top 10 draft.
But the thing is, at least with this, a conversation can be had. By the way, shout out to Frank Nitty for the $5 donation. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
As fellow fans, and we'll start to get to some of the comments here. And look, this alone for a guy coming in 2022, I don't know if that moves it enough for them per se. But when you look at the offers we've already extended in the 2022 class to offensive linemen and the foundation that Herb Hand and Tom Herman are building right now with the offensive line, I'm fine with that. You look at what they're building with our pass catchers coming along. The other kid that just committed from, I believe, from Florida, that's a wide receiver. So guys are going to want to play with him regardless. They'll be able to recruit and build around this, and they need him to be a voice and be vocal.
What about the guy who's been making noise all over practice right now?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, no
one's talking about him running with the ones, and he'll be 3 years in once this kid's here. He may be the go-to.
So the possibilities are very, very exciting to look at as Texas fans. And the one thing I will also say is the 2010s are over. We are in a new decade. Because when you think about our drop-off, it was after 2009, right? 2010 to 2019 was tough. Or I'm sorry, 2019 was tough, right? We're here in a new decade, and we're starting off with a bang. And look, I'm gonna bring up a name. I know that people are gonna get mad as hell in the chat, but when you look at when Mac Brown got Chris Sims in 1999, some of y'all are not old enough to remember. I know people feel some type of way about Chris Sims. He was the number 1 overall recruit in the country. Yes, he did not live up to the hype that was there, being the son of Phil Sims. However, the recruits came. You mentioned it earlier with that 2000 recruiting class of Roy Williams. What was it? Roy Williams, Sloan Thomas, and BJ Johnson, right? And all the guys that really set the foundation for the 2002 class, right? That ended up winning the national championship. So I always talk about the importance of what that does for your program, propelling it forward, right? 2002, you signed Vince Young, who's now we have missed before, right? I talk about Chris Sims. That was actually a net positive. The miss that set us back was Garrett Gilbert, who was also the all-world recruit, right?
Can we lay off on this miss thing, because every college in the nation wanted him.
When I say miss, I'm not saying a miss in terms of the signing. I'm saying a miss in terms of what happened at Texas.
Yeah. So okay, I got you, because everyone, like I said, he was the number 1 overall player, overall quarterback in the class.
Yes,
everyone wanted him.
Chris Sims. Going back to Chris Sims, people do not. It's because of the major Apple. I think people don't give him credit for all the dudes that came to play with him, right? And it was a lot of it was Corey Redding as well. Corey Redding was a big part of that whole recruitment at the time, for those who don't remember. But the Garrett Gilbert signing was huge, right, in 2009, and we didn't, we went 5-7 after that, right? And it kind of sank the program not solely on him. There was a lot of factors that go into it, but we haven't had that excitement in over a decade over one prospect, right? Especially at the quarterback position. And you think about, and the other thing I want to bring up is during that time, we also watched Andrew Luck from the state of Texas develop into what he developed into. We saw Robert Griffin from, it was at Copper's Cove, that came out, went to Baylor. Now, was he the elite prospect out of high school? No. But the development of him and all the Texas quarterbacks that up through really Sam Ellinger, we haven't gotten, right? So now we have that particular guy for now. Again, like I said at the beginning of this chat, we have to continue to recruit him, and we have to build the class around him. And I know we're going to get to Jalen Milroe and some of the other guys, and Quentin Jackson and Hudson Card, and the guys that are here and the guys that are coming, and how that impacts. But I do want to go back to what you mentioned earlier, Tran. I think the thing that can make this crazy is how our offense looks this year. You talked about Troy O'Meara and how he's breaking out, right? We talked about what record we should have. Forget the record for a second. If we're coming out and we look like Oklahoma State circa 2017 with Rudolph and James Washington and Justice Hill, everybody's coming, right? Like, if we look like that, because that's what the recruits and the guys want to see.
Oh, if we look like that, I'll be shocked if we lose a game. Like, if we look like that with what I feel our defense is going to be, I will be shocked if we lose a game within conference play. And I'll say that right here, right now. If we look like that 2017 team that you're talking about offensively.
And Danny, I do want to say, looking at the chat, miss is probably the wrong word to use. Gilbert was a bust here. That wasn't a recruiting miss. I agree. Like, he was the number one player. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year, Mr. Everything, broke state records. Lake Travis, I get the whole thing. And it's sad because the Lake Travis quarterbacks that came after him were good, right? But when I say miss, I'm talking about in terms of more of a bust, in terms of what we didn't get the return of investment for what the player was projected to be. People were making Peyton Manning like comps to Garrett Gilbert at that time. But overall, when you look at, Quinn as what he's already doing as a sophomore, and the toughness, and some of the hits that he's taken, and the throws he's able to make consistently. Yes. It's going to be fun in our offense with the coaches that we have.
Can I make a rule right now? This is supposed to be a happy chat. Can we stop talking about the depressing Garrett Gilbert being the downfall for Texas for the past
that's my fault.
11 years? No. I'm just saying all I'm seeing now in the chat is Garrett Gilbert. So let's be happy.
Yeah. No, that's my fault. I see Bill's here, and he said, I have a feeling that Milroe will take his talent to Alabama. If I'm Alabama, if I'm Nick Saban, I'm seeing this today, because we're going to talk about some of the dominoes that are going to happen now. If I'm Nick Saban and I'm the Brockermeyers, who are already working on Jalen, that you have to go all in on that. You double up your quarterback room behind Bryce Young. That's a no-brainer. Now, I will say this, and we've had a lot of OU fans and discussions. The Caleb Williams conversation, because I've seen a lot of OU people butthurt on social media about, well, I don't even know if he's better than Caleb Williams. Knock it off, all right? And the other thing is, we knew when they got Caleb Williams, that was going to play into this. And one of the things that Quinn Ewers even talked about was, his family. His mother's side, I believe, is more OU or from Oklahoma, and the father's side is very heavily Texas fans and whatnot. Now, there's several people that he's connected with in the DFW area. I think Kevin Murray and Riley Dodge is his high school football coach, and I mentioned the Dodge connection earlier. But when the Caleb Williams thing happened for OU, that really opened the door for us to take advantage.
Yep.
To get him in 2022, no doubt about it. And we already had our insurance with Jalen Milroe committed for 2021. So I felt really good about that entire situation, personally. But when you look at the room, and this is one thing that and shout out to Eric Nolan all the Inside Texas folks, all the people at 24/7, all the people at Orange Bloods, all the people that do great work, who's their profession to be there and reporting and recruit and making their projections. One of the things that Eric Nolan talked about was, hey, with the quarterback room as is, and the folks that are going to be coming into the quarterback room, the risk, right, of the guarantee of production is so high. You're eliminating risk because one of these guys is going to be really good, right? So when you have a room loaded like that, I don't have to load up all the pressure on like a Garrett, going back to Garrett Gilbert, but he was the only person in the room right after Colt left. Like that was kind of, we didn't have an alternative to that, and the drop off happened. This room here is ridiculous.
Yes.
And you have a diversity of quarterbacks in that room, because don't forget the big bad wolf from Duncanville that's still in the room, right? And what he can do, and he might be a baby Cam Newton. Like there's the possibilities. That's where you get really excited as a Texas fan. So hitting the chat, he said, no way Milroe goes to Bama. We'll see. They're recruiting him hard. Where's Vandergeer going? Georgia? I think he's going to Brock Vandergeer.
Mm-hmm. QB room's gonna be salty. Yeah, we got 4 guys that could really fight for a fight for the first team staffs.
Competition, man. I'm with Danny. Iron sharpen iron. And look, the conversation's being had with the other players that are in the room. It's not like, for Jaquindon Jackson to sign, knowing Hudson Card is coming, and vice versa, right? Like the expectation's already there. Jalen Milroe was briefed on that as well. This is what they do. This is how they recruit. Same thing that happened at Ohio State, and that continues to happen at Ohio State. The elite programs, that's what they do. Clemson's starting to do that now, right? So you got to load them up. Yeah, and the other thing too, from DFW, those of you who are talking about, I've seen Kamar Wheaton's name in here, and LJ. They're going to end up with one of those 2 backs. I'm going to tell you that right now. The way the crystal balls are looking and the things that people are hearing behind the scenes, I don't think they're going to get both running backs with Bijan in the room, but you're going to have potentially a Troy O'Mary, Caleb Burton, Evan Stewart, Bijan, Kamar Wheaton, with Quinn or JJ or Hudson Card, whoever is at quarterback. Like we're
Jake
on the come
too.
up.
Jake Smith too for the slot receiver. So I mean, we have weapons for the future. And not only that, what's so important about this is that, us being in COVID, the top 5 quarterbacks aren't getting to throw with the top receivers in the nation. I think when this is all done, him being 2 years out is extremely important for the top receivers, because he'll actually get to go to camps and throw to them and gain that respect, gain that rapport with them, gain the relationship with them, that he could actually maybe pull in a couple of them over to us. So, and that's something that's probably overlooked on not just him being the best player in the nation, but just the fact that he could actually be our recruiter for us, not just the DFW area.
Guys, we have 177 people here in the chat. I appreciate y'all being here. Only 50 likes, so make sure you slash. That's how you check in. I told Connor to come in here and set up the chairs earlier, so when you come into the chat, make sure you hit that like button, show us some love, so we can grow this platform.
Mark, are you talking about this season? Does Casey have a chance to start this season? No, it's Sam's job.
I could see Casey potentially starting out next year.
No, that's why I asked him if he was.
No, in 2021. If they don't think that, I mean, right now, Casey Thompson's QB2, although Hudson Card is coming from some of the things I've been hearing, but I think the quarterback competition in 2021 is going to be very, very interesting. And then 2022 now, right now, Quinn's going to grow too. He's like, they got him at 6'3", 215. Mm-hmm. So he'll probably be 6'4", 6'5".
I would like 225.
225. Yeah, 225.
I don't want him too heavy.
225 plus. But he's. I mean, Matthew Stafford was around that weight too when he came out.
But he's more of a mobile quarterback than Matthew Stafford.
He is more mobile. I agree with that.
Back to the Casey thing. I think Casey does start next season, but he's going to have a very short leash. I do think it will be extremely short for him.
And look, he's also very talented.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. The thing is, we'll know a lot. We'll know a lot about this year if we're blowing teams out and we put him in there, because I don't think Yurcich is going to just let him hand the ball off 3 times and then punt. Let's just play the clock. No, I think they'll test him a little bit and see how he could play. So we'll know a lot after this year.
I appreciate the chat, guys. You guys are, we're all Texas fans here. Y'all are locked in. Some of the things I agree with, some of the things I don't. The quarterback room is crazy right now. It's so crazy that we had a 4-star kid who was Under Armour All-American that had to move to running back and is awesome there, right? Like in Roshan. So it's incredible to see the aspect of development. Are all these kids going to stay in the room? No, right? Same thing I mentioned with Ohio State. Some guys moved, some guys changed positions. Ultimately, they had to have a guy change positions that almost went undefeated 2 years in a row in Braxton Miller, but they made the switch. Competition, day in, day out. Joe Burrow went to LSU, won a Heisman, a national championship. Competition. I'm not saying everybody's going to stay, but I do trust them in making their proper evaluations, developing, especially if Mike Yurcich is making $2+ million as your OC in 2022 and still able to be here. Because again, if this all works now with Sam, and then he's able to flip a quarterback again in 2021 and have them be highly productive, and it becomes more of a system that you've seen at schools like Tech or schools like Oklahoma, where it's just, next man up is going to throw for 3,500 yards plus, 30+ touchdowns, and be all Big 12 performer, or whatever conference we are in. The
Texas conference.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. And the other thing too, I will say is this: just what a week, right? Like, and I don't know if we mentioned it at the beginning, but what a week! I started this week with an emergency live chat with the season being in jeopardy. And I'm not saying, and look, every day we go and the season's not canceled, I thank the Lord upstairs, right? Like, I'm not, there's no guarantees whatsoever. And I appreciate Bob Bowlesby, Big 12 commissioner, setting those expectations very, very firmly. But where we were at the beginning to the middle of the week when the Big 12 schedule comes out and they're like, hey, we're going to play, to happy Friday, we get the #1 player in the country for 2022. It's incredible. It's incredible that just the emotional roller coaster we've been on in the last 5 days.
Yeah. There was a couple of questions I want to touch on. One was, I got to scroll up to find it. Thoughts on the great reports on the young freshmen balling out. I think it's great. I think you need to be opportunistic, and I'm getting tired of seeing other universities utilize their young talent to their strengths where they're actually successful very young. So I am extremely happy to see that. I'm extremely happy. O'Meary especially. I've been seeing him with just attack the ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
strong hands.
You can tell he has very strong hands. And shout out to Sam. He's been the videos I've been seeing. That's the biggest question mark that I've seen of him is his accuracy, and he's putting the ball where only the wide receiver can actually make a play on the ball.
The what you're seeing too, I like the balance, because remember that, I forgot what season it was, but we were like, yo, I'm worried about the secondary, because like it was like everybody was just getting mossed in every video.
No, it was I think 2 years ago, and everyone gave me crap because I said that. I was like, no, guys,
where's the defensive footage?
I'm seeing our wide receivers catch like 70-yard touchdowns every single one of the clips that they put out. And I was like, we haven't had a touchdown of over 50 yards in 2 seasons. Like, how is this happening? How does that make our defensive backs look good? And they just got torched. But I'm seeing our defensive backs make plays also on the.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
seeing
what I'm saying.
the
The
early
balance is there.
2000s,
Yeah,
where that competition was there between the two groups. That's
shoot, they
the
showed a
thing.
video. They showed a video with Alvontae Woodard where Josh Thompson got the best of him because it was 9-on-9. Josh Thompson comes in, gets the pass breakup, and then the next video I see is Alvontae Woodard catching a deep post. Right, so you're seeing the balance of guys making plays on both sides, and that's very, very encouraging to see. I know it's very minimal footage that we're seeing, but you were right when you made that observation a couple years ago, and so those are things that we can't dismiss either. But in terms of just overall the pass catching group, this is a prove it year for a lot of folks in that crew, right? And guys that we're looking at to make that next step, whether it's
To
Jordan
make that
Whittington.
transition so much easier
Absolutely.
too for
Absolutely.
the new quarterback.
Yeah.
They've got to get those reps in with a seasoned quarterback. So when someone's new here, they trust them and they know that they're going to get the job done. They can put them in the right place to make easy throws for the quarterback to get his confidence going throughout the season.
I want to go back to a point earlier, though, and I know we're kind of talking about the team right now, but a point earlier that Frank brought up, I think it was about the quarterback room and hating seeing guys go. I agree. Always hate to see guys hit the portal and go elsewhere, but I will say this. The long-term ramifications on recruiting does matter regardless of the school. It's tied to the coach. What do I mean by that? I think it meant something when Joe Burrow called Tom Herman and said, "Thank you for offering me a scholarship at Ohio State." I think that means something for Tom Herman at Texas. Does that make sense, Tran? What
No,
I'm saying,
100%.
In terms of, hey, I know you never got to really coach me, but the rapport and the relationship we built was special when I came out of high school, and you thought I was good enough to be at that level, so you gave me a chance.
He fought for him.
And he fought for him, right? Because Joe Burrow was like him and Lamar Jackson in that like 2015 group
ridiculous,
were like way down 3 stars.
We went
right?
through that and we're like, what?
Like and granted that look back at it, the only one that was like top was like Kyler, who ended up becoming what he became.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but those other guys were far down in that class. But getting back to what I'm talking about here, even the guys that leave, Tom Herman didn't coach, all those guys at Ohio State per se, but or they, didn't have all the success. But that relationship being there, no matter what, because of the coach, it matters here at Texas to get the guys in the room. Because look, let's say Casey Thompson, he doesn't win the job. I think it'd be more than fair of him to hit the portal, find opportunity, and he goes and balls out, improves himself, right? It means a lot if he comes back 3 years later and says, if I was a young quarterback, I would go play for Tom Herman. Great man, great coach, stands behind his players. And I developed a lot to where I was able to go somewhere else and ball because the room was just loaded. It was like an all-star team, right? So that matters. That matters.
Yes. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think one of the things that you touched on, and you even mentioned it, was coaches are in the relationship business. And if you crap all over a relationship and you make the person feel terrible, and that's why that's another reason why, when everyone hit the portal earlier this summer, there was a lot of places that didn't have availability for them to actually transfer over. I think personally it was them trying to make a power play to get their demands met. Personally, I think that was just like it was just but they came back and they were welcomed with open arms in just a second because they knew that that they had those relationships built up. I want to touch on Dallas Schwartz. He's talking mess about USC, saying SC's grinding in Texas right now. Trojans are coming for the talent, and we'll drink y'all's tears when we win the Natty. Y'all are still saying we're back, fight on. I hope USC comes back. I agree with Kirk Herbstreit. Is that if we college football is not good without the blue bloods being dominant, honestly. And I want USC, I want Texas back. I want all the big time programs to just hit it. But guess what? You guys aren't playing the season, so you're not coming back this year.
That's so this is a Texas chat, but I appreciate Dallas chiming in and you know, I just want to say this to him. I am sorry that you lost your season, sir. And you know what? Hurt people hurt people. And I know you're hurting right now, and I appreciate you supporting the channel, Dallas, but you can't talk a whole lot about winning anything when you can't even play. How you going to talk from outside the club? You can't even get in, right? So to
But you
quote
still can.
one Chris Brown, right? So it's funny. It's funny. So hurt people. Remember
Yep.
that. But I love you, Dallas, and thank you
Yeah.
for all the comments you always put
Yeah.
on the videos, and hopefully you get to see your team play in 2021.
Yeah, I just don't want people to think that we'll ignore other fan bases when they chime in.
Oh
here.
no
Like at all. But
no. But we
Mark,
gotta if he's gonna come on and talk
yeah,
talk trash, we
of course.
got. I mean, that's the only way.
Of course. Mark Vasquez, Tran, you still worried Sam getting hurt? That could really hurt us. Yeah. But I think that we're definitely going to take. You saw it a lot last year that we took off unnecessary hits off of Sam, and I think we're going to continue to do that. I do like the way that he looks. You could see he's put in a lot of work. So I think he'll be way more mobile. I hope he doesn't get into the, hey, I'm still 235 pounds. I'm going to truck this dude and just dive down. Get 7-8 yards, dive down. But that's not his mentality. That's the only issue. So whenever it's a design run, I hope it's legitimate design run where we have protection for him.
My 2 cents on that is that's part. If I'm an NFL evaluator, that's part of the maturation process I need to see.
Mhm.
Part of decision making at the quarterback position is knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them, right? And having the discretion, proper discretion of, hey, okay, it's the fourth quarter, 2 minutes left. I got to go truck somebody. I get it. But if it's the first quarter, right, you don't need to be Tim Tebow right now. Okay, get down, protect yourself, and because I'm in the business. If I'm in the NFL, right, I'm in the business of availability. If you can be a warrior all you want to, but get your ass out of bounds or get your ass on the ground, right? That's one thing that Russell Wilson is very, very good at. Kyler Murray is already very, very good at. All the veteran, really good quarterbacks that stay healthy. Look, guys that run around all the time and don't protect themselves. I'm not talking about like the Lamar Jacksons of the world. I'm not talking about that type of quarterback. But in relationship to Sam Ehlinger, decision making is going to be one of the things that they look at in his evaluation, in my opinion. The accuracy, we're starting to see it there with the small things and throwing outside of the hash marks, right? We got to see the downfield accuracy. He improved on it last season and hit on some deep balls where it was like, oh my God. That's why I compare Sam so much to Dak Prescott, man, when Dak was at Mississippi State, because he's not the runner that Dak was at Mississippi State, but in terms of when Dak was a junior and he was like they were talking about him potentially being like a Heisman, right? I was like, he's a great college quarterback, but he does not throw the ball well enough to be considered. And then he came back his senior year, completely changed his throwing motion.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he's draftable, right? And then he excelled again his rookie season in the NFL. And that's the type of work ethic that Sam Ehlinger has. It's very, very similar. Like even the way Sam throws the ball, like the wind up and the amount of time it took for him in terms of his release, I think that has improved since he's been here. Again, we have to give credit to Tom Herman as well as Tim Beck. Tim Beck didn't do a horrible job in the quarterback room from a development standpoint. Our issues were with him as a play caller and offensive coordinator. But as a quarterback coach, Sam has gotten better every single year, and we have to see that last phase of his development so he can truly maximize his gifts.
I'm trying to find a
So
good
one of the things David Williams said with the offense being run centric, I think that's valid if it was the Tom Herman offense, Ohio State, Zeke Elliott, where they're doing all that stuff. And then they also had like, Devin Smith and a very, very young, like Michael Thomas and guys like that, where they were kind of play actioning off of it. And even the other brother that went to the Redskins for a little bit. But with Mike Yursich in this scheme and us moving to what you saw It's much more balanced system. You're still going to have a lot of those run concepts. It's still a power spread offense, but running tempo and having a lot more diverse. You're going to see a lot more bunch this year. You're going to see condensed sets. Some of the things we saw even in the Utah Bowl game, it's going to be a lot more diverse. And I think we have a coaching staff now that can kind of cater much better to what the skill set is of your quarterback versus, hey, we have a system here where we have to have a guy who's going to run the football from the quarterback position 20, 25 times a game.
Yeah. Which I think you just answered that last some ML's question. Do you think your offense is going to help with QB durability and how we're going to get the ball down the middle? And so you just touched on that.
Yes. Yes. I think his credibility also just as a quarterback coach, because you have to remember Mike Yurcich is a quarterback coach, and I still now have the overlord of Tom Herman there.
Hey, Jess, C013 Sports. By the way, Mr. Steven Ngati is actually going to be on a live with RJ tomorrow. So tune in for that.
Yeah, that was one of our special. I am going to be on with RJ tomorrow on his channel to talk about this. So we'll have another conversation. I believe it's going to be at 2 p.m. He'll put that out there, but it'll be our first collab together. So
sorry, I thought that was a perfect segue because someone was mentioning it.
Somebody brought it up since Jess brought it up. So I'll make that announcement again at the end of the chat, but we will be on with RJ tomorrow on his channel, on his platform to talk about it, and we'll get a few jabs in as well, but it'll be a fun little discussion. So tune in. But going back to just overall, what the outlook is for Texas moving forward. Somebody brought up the 2021 class and the impact that can have there. Look, a lot of the work is being done, but I will say there's opportunities to flip guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the country. I'm gonna have to go back and really, dig in. I'll do some of that tonight in terms of, guys I think, we could have another conversation with. Again, I always say recruit through signing day, right? Early signing day, whatever, recruit through, especially guys that they feel good about with their evaluations. But I do know that the staff is really, really high on the 2022 class at certain positions, especially around the offensive line.
Yeah, and just going back to the fact that we're supposedly playing, and we announced that we're playing. All those recruits that committed somewhere else, they still get 5. Is it 5 or is it 6 official visits?
I don't know.
I think it's 5. I think it's 5. I know it used to be 5, but you don't think that they're gonna not come to Texas? I mean, during a big game, for just to take it as a visit. I mean, seeing all the new infrastructure that they're built. I mean, they're almost done with the end zone, and also I know they're done with the monitor, the whole new building that they built. I mean, stuff like that. It's going to help with the 2021 class, and if you turn it into wins, if they win, they will come, type of thing. I mean, we've never had an issue with recruiting the talent, but if they can actually start showing the, I guess, their hard work of coaching these guys and turning them into champions, that's where the elite talent comes, where you can actually start building yourself a brand like I guess just a turncoat team that's like, hey, all right, 3 years you're in the NFL, kind of like what Alabama has.
Like I said before, guys, at the beginning, for those who weren't here when we started, it's a new decade. It is the 2020s now. We are opening the Texas era with a bang. And, the stars, God willing, we have a season, man. The stars really are aligning for us to not just be I don't want to be the offseason champs, okay?
Nope.
Like, I know we're this is fun tonight. And Quinn is going to celebrate with his family, making a really big decision. You saw Riley Dodge today on Twitter. You saw Caleb Burton on Twitter, and some of the other recruits that were sharing Quinn's announcement and post. But the work has to be done on the field, because if they come out in their disappointment, all this can fall apart Other teams will start recruiting, and then they'll flip our players, period, right? And
Yeah.
then the coach is in jeopardy. But we have a real opportunity to say, you know what, 2010s was a dark time for Texas football, but that's behind us, right? And now Sam Ellinger and that 2018, well, he's 2017 class, him and Josh Thompson, but the 2018 group moving forward is building the foundation of the new house, okay, with the new stadium. All this positive. I'm big on energy, guys. I'm big on energy, Tran, and
Oh,
they
I
are
am.
building something better and different. I'm built there. The energy is there with the staff. You see it on social media. You see it, Derek Ochoa and all these guys and the videos that they show of Jay Valai, our young recruiting superstar, right? And all the wonderful things that we see, but I don't want to be the offseason champions. That's my point.
I agree. Darius, yeah, we are rocking that. We are rocking the icy whites. Just a heads up, we don't plan this beforehand.
No, this was not coordinated.
Steve just hits me up and he goes, "Hey, 7:30, 7:30. All right, I'll be there." That's it.
This was not coordinated. Shout out to I want to give a shout out to Peter Young and Danny Juarez, who were the first people to hit me up. I was actually in a workout class when this news dropped, and then I leave my phone at home and I walk back upstairs because the class is downstairs from my apartment, and I look at my phone and I figured something was happening because the conversation all day was like, hey, some news about a drop, and then those of us who were on some of the paid sites, they were dropping hints all over the place that, hey, Quinn's going to announce and things of that sort. But when it was official, and it's like, damn, us making that video a while ago about the Brockermeyers, us talking about, just, hey, when are we going to get people drafted, and on all these conversations. But going back to my point of building the house, we're building a new house, new energy. When Quinn gets here, right? And I hate to say this, but I'll make a joke when Charlie said the cake was baked. Do you remember that? But when Quinn gets here and we have that credibility because now, God willing, Samuel Cosme has taken us off the snide for the first round stuff. And we have Joseph Osai, who's been developed and goes forward. And that staff now has skins on the wall and says, guys, that's no longer an issue. When Auburn comes in the room and says, where are your NFL players? We can answer that question. When Alabama comes in the room, hey, this is because it's all about what have you done for me lately? Real rap, right? The kids know who those guys are, right?
Yeah.
And they go. Also, we need to give a shout out to Andre Carrick, our new left tackle who came also from South Lake Carroll. And I know he said today on Twitter, he was hitting him up behind the scenes and been working on his little bro over at South Lake. So well done, Mr. Andre Carrick and those guys that are connected up there in the DFW area.
The bag will be coming shortly.
Bag secured. Yeah, it's craziness. It's craziness. I mean, and we're ending the week on a much more positive note than we started this week, which I'm always here for. Hopefully we can keep the good vibes coming and going throughout the coming weeks as we see more of our football team getting ready. Start to get a really good idea of what our depth chart and the rotations are going to look like. But this is the shot in the arm that we needed, Tran.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we've touched on previously is that we've always talked about, hey, we need to win the state of the best players. We did that this here, but we also won the nation best player. That we deserve a night to just be happy about this.
Be happy
as a fan base. I mean, it's the number one player doesn't come to your team very often. I mean, it's been 18 years since we've had that. And the closest other to that was Garrett Gilbert.
Garrett Gilbert
at 7 or something like that. And
right. So it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen for any school often. I mean, there's a handful of times, Bama's got a number one guy, or Georgia or Clemson or whatever, like when Clemson got Trevor Lawrence. But to this magnitude is very, very impressive what Tom Herman's been able to build. in terms of this staff and getting that credibility and leveraging, like I said, his previous credibility from Ohio State. All these things factor in, and don't sleep on. One of the things that we talk about in the DFW area is very connected, right? Kevin Murray, Kyler Murray's father, who's one of the premier quarterback coaches up there, and what they're saying about the type of player that Quinn can be. It's amazing that he has that particular skill set. It's scary good, and some of the throws are Mahomish, right? Like, just it's off platform. Somebody talked about the hip this dexterity. I'm excited, and you should be excited if you're a Texas fan tonight. This is like I said, this is great energy. 2020 has been already a hell of a year, but in particular for Texas. And the other thing I want to chime in is this. Sorry, I messed up my headset. The other thing I want to chime in is this. Tom Herman won the locker room to another level with all the stuff that's gone on. He listened to his players. He stood with his players. He marched with his players. He gave them the space when some needed space. He gave it to them. When guys were hitting the portal, feeling indifferent, he got them back. So he and his staff and this school, because I've also talked about how they've handled, we haven't talked about COVID yet, right? And the resources that they've put in place, this administration through Chris Del Conte, our new school president, Jay Hartzell, the response that they've had, the money they've invested into the facilities and the program, the new stadium coming, all of this energy is what players, parents, mom and dad want to see that, right? That it's not just the football stuff. It's not, right? It's everything that they're doing inside, on the field and off the field. I think is huge. It's huge. And that's how you turn the ship around. It's going to take time. Look, there's a team up in Norman, Oklahoma that we're going to have to go see in Dallas that's won 5 consecutive Big 12 championships. We have to go take care of that, right? So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Mike Yursich has done it, but he hasn't done it at Texas. And you're going to see with Quinn, the next couple years, Quinn's blowing up now. It's going to be even crazier now that he's a Texas commit. You know how that goes too. But they're doing all the right things that I want to see as of right now, August 14th.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of people asking, is Burton next? I mean, me saying this is an old defensive back. Wide receivers are drama filled. So, I mean, if he commits to us, that one, I would definitely, I'd be happy with it because it'd be another five star. But, I wouldn't believe it until the ink dried.
So good things about Burton. He's here.
Yes.
He's here,
yes.
Right?
He's here.
And I'm blessed enough to know a couple folks that are friends of my wife and whatnot that actually teach over at Del Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear nothing but wonder. I'm not saying I have an inside scoop or anything like that, but I've heard from them and folks that are his teachers and whatnot. He's a wonderful kid. With a lot of folks that don't know about Caleb Burton, his father is actually the head coach, Charles Burton. And so he's a coach's son and he's a technician. He is comped right now on 24/7 to Jerry Jeudy. That's Burton's comp. He's about 6 foot.
That's a great comp. I like.
It's excellent comp, right? So he's a technician. Bama had those technicians when they went from Cooper to Ridley to Jerry Jeudy, right? They always had that amazing technician there. So when you look at the pursuit of those guys, technicians want to play with a quarterback that gets them the ball out on time.
Gets them the ball.
Right? And is on time, right? And can do some special things in the air because I can do some special things running my routes. So skill set wise, they would be a very good pairing 3-4 years from now, right? So when we start doubling up like that, just the same way, because y'all saw what happened when Tua got together with Smith and Jerry Jeudy and Jalen Waddle and Henry Ruggs, they're special. That's the crew you want to have. And we've seen it before to some degree at Texas, right? When we didn't win it all and we weren't great, but we had a lot of fun with Chris Sims and them. And I said Roy Williams and BJ Johnson and Sloan Thomas when all the Texas receivers came because they wanted to play with the quarterbacks, right? And then we got Cedric Benson here too. May he rest in peace, right? So you gotta marry up these kids and these classes. They want to play with each other, man. Especially with social media now and the way that they're able to connect and talk. Look at what Bryce Young's doing over at Alabama and how he's talking to kids.
Yeah. And you got to think, I mean, he's not that far away from him too. So he could actually just go, hey, you want to meet me at park and throw some, run some routes, get some reps in, you know, and I hope he's doing something like that during this off time, but we'll see.
Cook and Co, I appreciate you, brother. I'm excited to link with you this weekend and chit chat. I also saw Texas Football Talk on here. I want to give those guys a shout out, the Lockerbie guys, and you guys are doing a great job on your YouTube channel and your platform. I really like y'all's content, so please keep it up. What you guys are doing on Twitter. If you guys aren't following Texas Football Talk, please go give them a follow and go subscribe to their YouTube channel. I like to promote all Texas, especially Texas platforms and content creators that are out here. You guys have to hear multiple perspectives. Tran and I are just two perspectives, right? That's why we started doing the roundtable of other fans, because I want to know what I care about, what other people are saying, especially people that are educated. I'm not talking about the trolls, right? But other people, you know, that's why we're going to have the conversation with RJ tomorrow, talking to the guy on the other side of the 50 in Dallas. So we want to have those many of you out here, some of y'all, your best friends are Aggies. Some of y'all are like, seriously, right? Like we have Brandon, right? And so we fight, we argue, we scrape, and we claw. Some of y'all are married to a Sooner, but it's also fun to have that discourse, right? And so, you know, hey, Texas Football Talk, we appreciate you guys too, man. Y'all are doing a really, really great job on your platform. They've been interviewing recruits too, so it's really worth your while. Go throw them a sub. We got to show some love and support the Texas football community and grow together. And I need to do a better job of helping promote other folks with the platform that I have. You know, so we'll have more round tables and things of that sort as well for you guys. Warren said I'm married to an Aggie. Now, now everybody go hit the chat with all the people that are in their family or their significant other that's not a Texas fan, right? And it's funny because some of y'all should hit us up with some of the stories that y'all get. Look at Quinn, right? Mom's on Oklahoma, dad's on Texas. At one point, you remember when we got Shane Buechele?
Mm-hmm. Everyone was Oklahoma.
Everybody was Oklahoma. You know, so it's always, you know, you're always gonna have the people you're dealing with that are the enemy in the room. But you got to make it fun and live it up and talk your trash. Pay me said my sister goes to Tech. Yeah, we all got them in our family. My brother's a Sooner. See, he's like my brother's a Sooner. Billy, for those that don't know, Billy's wife, Audrey, is
an Aggie, right?
Is an Aggie.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm sure at some point, you know, they'll drop. RJ will drop that DKR went to OU. You know, so it's craziness. I've got nephews that yeah. So, man, it's been fun with you guys and chit chatting and you know, I'm not gonna be on. I don't think how much longer we got? What is it? 8:30. So we've been on for about an hour now, I think.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. So, hey, it's Friday night. I don't got anywhere to be. So, Lubbock smell. Hey, I saw some Texas Tech fans coming at me. I know I came at y'all a bit loud on the video. I'm keeping that same energy. You know, y'all gonna get beat down in Lubbock. I'm just letting you know. And I know the brother came at me and said, "Hey, we're 3-2 the last 5 years." Blah blah blah. This is my ultimately my point. We've got to come with the energy, especially this year, where you leave no doubt. This has to be the leave no doubt season, right? The season where you're just like, you know what, scoreboard. I don't care. We're going on our Jimmy Johnson-ish, right? Where it's like,
Well,
look, it's not our problem. That's not my burden to worry about you trying to stop us. I'm
I
trying to
love the
score.
fact that you chose Jimmy Johnson, because I was going to say I want the old school Miami where you flip the coin, be like heads. You want the ball? I don't care. Where they say I don't care. Sure, whatever.
That's got to be the energy movement, because that's the last level, and that's the level that Vince Young had this team at in 2005, right? Where it was just like, I don't care, we're gonna win. Okay, I don't care. It's 4th and 18 against Kansas. I'm getting the first down. I don't care. This guy can't tackle me. When it really matters, he can't tackle me. Like, that's the energy that we need Bijan Robinson to have, whatever role he plays. Be the monster that we know you can be. Look at Troy O'Meara. He looks like Adonis already. He's a
Mhm.
freshman. Look at the guy. And you know what? I was thinking too, and I saw him make that snag over the middle with one hand, with his left hand, by the way. I was like, wow, maybe that's the replacement for Colin Johnson.
But he was doing that shit in high school
Yeah,
too, and we were calling
yeah,
that out too. He
yeah.
wasn't he a top play? That one in the end zone,
Yes,
the
yes, I know what you're talking
one-handed,
about.
yeah. So I mean, it's not like this is something new for him.
No,
It's just refreshing to see though, like in burnt orange.
no, no. No, and so Working Man said, hey, the guys haven't been through death camp this year. The injury report has been, it hasn't been what we saw the last season, right? Where it was like, it seemed like every day on the camp report somebody was pulling something, or they were dealing with a bunch of soft tissue injuries. Knock on wood, and hopefully that keeps up. But I think they got to be more strategic, and this is something I've talked about in the NFL on my NFL videos when I talk Cowboys, when Dez said that he was with Sean Payton and those guys in New Orleans, and how they practiced versus how the Cowboys were practicing. And this mindset, because Tom Herman had a very similar mindset at one point to Jason Garrett, in terms of like that whole, like, we got to outwork the problem. Your best is good enough, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, Sean Payton's like, nah, we're scheme, bro. Like, we're getting ready. We're dialing up all this craziness stuff so that when we get on the field, people can't keep up with us. And the people in Norman, that's how they operate. They operate on scheme, right? How do we get people wide open touchdowns? How do we fool them, right? I'm not saying you got to be you got to be blocking, tackling, all that. You got to be physical. Bill Belichick, old school, we're good at our basics. I get that. But it turns out we practice and not killing people there, especially with COVID. We already have to, maybe that's actually helped them in a weird way, from a standpoint of they can't go full tilt like they want
Mhm.
to. So, let it be optimistic.
Dallas, yeah, we want USC and Texas to be good as well. I appreciate it
No,
though.
college football,
Yeah.
Dallas, college football is better when USC is good. And you know what I appreciate about USC? I appreciate their alum. I appreciate guys like Reggie Bush. Y'all, first of all, the reason why y'all fell down, conspiracy Steve here. Y'all did Reggie wrong.
You did Reggie really
Y'all did
wrong. That's
Reggie
not
wrong.
conspiracy.
No,
And
but
you let
the
Pete
bad
Carroll just
energy.
tiptoe out the door when he knew what was going on. Like, oh, sorry.
That's when your program fell down, Dallas. So
No, and when we played USC at USC, Sam's first game, I was there. The fans were great, so I had a fantastic time. I can't say the same thing about Cal. Those guys are scumbags.
yeah, you didn't have a whole lot of nice things to say
Yeah,
at that Cal
yeah,
game. And it
yeah.
was cold, right? Wasn't it cold that night?
It was all right. It wasn't terrible. It was just
I mean, cold for Cali. It was like 50 or something. 50. I remember it being, you said it. You
yeah.
were on, yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but yeah, it was.
I also want to thank you guys for helping remind me about the 2009 Halloween Oklahoma State game. Everybody that chimed in on the video. I knew my mind in that moment. I was like, I know there was a time where we played Oklahoma State on Halloween and Zach Robinson was there and we beat their ass. And y'all brought it up, and and thank you. Nathan said, "How can I donate?" Hey, if you feel compelled to donate, we appreciate it. There should be a super chat button somewhere to hit us up. If not, I probably should start putting a Cash App or Venmo or something in there just to for anybody that wants to make channel donations, because we do want to grow the platform, like I said, have more connections, our friends in the YouTube community, making better content. Matthew is coming back. He's out of town right now, so when we start doing our end video, more of our broader, longer outlook type of videos, and we have Matthew involved for production quality. But it's actually been good to utilize a tool like Zoom and just jump on and talk with you guys and it be functional. So appreciate y'all. Let's see here. Do you think the Longhorn Network was the downfall of the Big 12? In my opinion, the Longhorn Network should have been the Big 12 network. Gabriel Johnson, before we answer your question,
you're
that's why I love you, Tran. We're on the same.
Yeah. No, I mean, so the story that
I appreciate the question though.
Yeah,
but go ahead, Tran.
So the story that everyone is told is that it was supposed to be a Texas network with I think Texas Tech, Baylor, A&M, and Texas. Texas went to A&M first, said so, and A&M said, no, that would never work. Apparently, Texas went and got it, and then A&M wanted to join along with us, and they said, no, we stray dog. we did it all ourselves. And at that point, of course, A&M is going to be mad because we didn't let them back in on this huge revenue generating network. I think we definitely should have a Big 12 network like that specifically, but I don't think that one because I think the way that we set up the stipulations for revenue generating media outlets is that we have to break down the TV ad shares to the lower tiered schools. So Texas doesn't really get as much from nationally televised games as much as like Baylor and Tech. I think that's the way that it's broken down. So there's parity around there besides just us gaining so much money from the Big 12 network and then everything else.
Gabriel Johnson, we're just messing with you, man. No need to apologize, my friend. Thank you for being here. It was a good question because I knew Tran was going to answer that because he's very educated on things of that sort. That's why I utilize him. I'll text Tran business questions with the school. Tran's your guy, and things of that sort. So no need to apologize for asking the question. We make fun. We're just like when Brandon's on, we like to poke on, we like to mess with Brandon or Billy or any of our friends.
But is he an Aggie? That's the real question.
He didn't answer that question, but that's a good point. You see, Tran just doubled down. Tran B. Tran I will say this, my 2 cents in terms of the Longhorn Network, because I've also heard this a lot from people that are Texas fans, people that aren't, like, oh, Longhorn Network was our doom. No, our doom was our evaluations and our coaching staffs getting rated, in my opinion, in conjunction with the quarterback position being an issue. And then David Ash goes down and never, a lot of factors in there. The Charlie Strong era happens. We were just dark times all around. And honestly, whether it was Mac or Charlie, they didn't utilize the network correctly like they could have. Like the way Notre Dame has really capitalized on being independent, having their NBC affiliation. Notre Dame has always been in that same boat as a brand and with a TV network per se, but they were able to capitalize because they had the right guy with BK, and eventually he got them to the playoffs, and they've had some success, and every year their expectations are crazy, right? Now the network stuff is different now because we're moving into the streaming era. And so people are cutting cable, people are streaming. That's why we have so many people. That's why channels like this are only going to grow, whether it's here, whether it's RJ's channel, whether it's Texas Football Talk, whether it's Texas Horns, all the paid sites. Streaming is the way. Even the way we consume our games, ESPN Plus. So the Longhorn Network doesn't have the same cachet that it had in 2011, 2012. I think that's a fair question to ask. personally. But they missed. I mean, they missed on a lot of players, and then the development issue happened. So it was a lot of things. Yeah, TFT say, yeah, evaluations was a big issue, big issue. So I don't blame the network. That was something that another great coaching staff could have fully taken advantage of, and we didn't.
And I mean, one thing you also didn't like social media started really blowing up around the time that we were missing on evaluation. So, the recruiting aspect from that, there was no way to actually monitor it. So coaches could reach out directly to athletes without actually getting a slap on the wrist or anything like that, and they
Sure.
can negatively recruit that way.
Sure. No, and to David Williams' point about Quinn Ewers and his commitment to Texas, just in terms of we can't go backwards, we can't take a step back, and I know that's what David is saying here. In terms of dropping games and whatnot, everything has broken down as of now, and again, as of now, everything is broken down in Texas' favor. Even the way the schedule got rerouted, you're starting to see articles come out about, hey, this schedule is really advantageous for Texas. Like, I feel so good about our team, our health, and the opportunity that's in front of us, whether we have playoffs or anything of that sort down the road. But what we have to do is prove it to ourselves. It sucks that we don't get to play at LSU this year, okay? Because in my opinion, I wanted that for the kids' psyche to get that revenge, because they did play well and they played hard in Austin last year against an all-time great LSU team. And I wanted them to get that experience of going down to Baton Rouge and get an exacting revenge, just like, our UT guys in, previous decade that won in tough environments, like when Vince's team went and won in an environment in the horseshoe, right? That stuff goes a long way. That opportunity, unfortunately, has been stripped from us. But the progression that we can still have with our team, regardless of what happens after the Big 12 season, and we're able to make it through COVID, is very, very positive looking forward 2021 and beyond.
So Tyler, I think Steven has us at 9-1. I said 8-2, but I think I'm going to deep dive into the. I think we're both going to deep dive into the schedule once the season gets a little bit closer, and hopefully it's locked that we're actually going to play.
I also just want to see more from see more and hear more, whether it's listening to guys like Justin Wells or Eric Nolan and the folks out there, of what's going on in practice. Oh, Pablo, thank you for bringing that up, and thanks for being here. I'm glad you're able to make it. Pablo, shout out to him. He's over in DC on the East Coast supporting us. Bimage, Marquez Bimage has decided to opt out of the 2020 season, which I know was a tough decision for him and his family, being a senior this year, and what he's already committed to the program and how he's come along, and somebody who I was excited to see. I mentioned him in one of our previous videos when I was talking about getting my freaks on special teams. And shout out to Jay Boulware, by the way, who I've been hearing that he has a lot of the defensive people on all his special teams units of starters, that he wanted to load it. That was his philosophy from some of the things we've been hearing. And so we're excited to see, that progression there, and the folks that are reporting on this stuff and have the eyes on it, very, very thankful for you guys. In regards to Marquez Bimage, we understand that this virus is a very serious, real concern. I do not, and I think overall the response to him, because I'm gonna get to Kobe Boyce here in a second, which is a different situation. The response to Marquez Bimage has been overwhelmingly positive. Thank you guys as fans for, supporting the brother and being there for him. And, hopefully not losing a year of eligibility, he's able to come back as a redshirt senior or whatever. And
you can't, NCAA already announced that people who opt out will not lose a year of eligibility.
Good.
So
good.
So touch base on Kobe Boyce. It's, I feel bad because, mental issues are something that should be handled with very delicately. And we have well, I have on this channel. I've called him out on his coverage skills, and I don't necessarily know if that has anything to do with it, but we also have to remember when we critique these kids that's what they are, is that they're kids, and they're on social media too, and they read stuff like that, and it can negatively affect them. I mean, I hate bringing up Garrett Gilbert, even though I called him out, but I'll never forget that game where he got pulled and they zoomed in on his face, and the kid was doing everything to keep back the tears when 100,000
Yeah.
people are booing him.
Yeah.
So we have to realize that we need to back these kids. We need to. Confidence is key for a lot of sports, and if these kids are playing confident, they're gonna show out.
I forgot to mention Daniel Young. So for D-Man, thank you for bringing up Daniel Young, who I believe opted out as well. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong there. But Kobe Boyce, Preston, I'm gonna have a video about Everson Griffin. I'm gonna have a really fun video about what my Cowboys about to do. That is going to be that is its own separate thing I'm going to make a whole video.
The smile on your face, by the way,
about the Dallas Cowboys front seven, because I am ready for that. But going back, in all seriousness, going back to Kobe Boyce and what you said, this is one of the things I talk about when people try to compare regular students to student athletes, right? And look, there is pressure. We both went to college. Like, there's pressure on us to perform, whether it's for the money that our parents are putting forth or to keep a hold of our scholarship and be accountable to the person that either gave us scholarship money or what have you. But I could still, now you play college football, so it's different for you. But for me, I didn't play. Like, I was a normal student. I worked, right? Like, I could go do whatever I wanted. There was no, if I didn't show up to my 8 a.m. Intro to journalism class at Howard, nobody cared. Nobody was going to email me and say, where were you? Right? Like, there was no pressure. Right? And so as student athletes, I think it was very courageous of Kobe Boyd to come out and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And I need to use this time in this space to be there. I do think fans have the right, because of, this is what you sign up for as a major athlete. Fans have the right to be critical of a player. And most of these players to get to this level have to be tough-minded. For example, did Kobe Boyce get as much flack as Chris Boyd got over 4 years? No. People were all over Chris Boyd, but Chris Boyd was cut from a cloth of where he still to this day doesn't care what you think. And that's a strength of his. But not everybody is like that. And so we have to be fair and have some human, especially those of you who have children. Those are the people I really, really get disappointed with. When you have children and you're over here trashing an 18, 19-year-old that's not a professional athlete, who is just trying to do the best that he can in the situation. That's why I always put more, especially when college, I put more accountability on the coaches, because it's like, hey, if he's in a situation that he's not good enough to be in or he's not ready for, please try to figure out a way to either help the kid or take him out, right? That's why you saw the reaction of Mike Gundy. Who was that? Was that Bobby? I forgot the guy's name. Was it Bobby Reed or something like that? The quarterback, when he said, I'm a man, I'm 40, when he reacted the way he did, right? Because the kid had a meltdown. So these things happen. And I'm proud that Kobe Boyce took the time to say, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to take care of my mental. He may come back, but we have to keep things in context. It's more than fair to be critical of a player and how they're performing. That's what, especially on the channel. So Tran, I don't think you ever said anything where you said the kid sucks. No. I don't think you were just critical of his coverage and you said, hey, he's struggling out there, right? He's not playing well. There's nothing wrong with that. And these players, if you want to play here at Texas, mental health aside, that's a different conversation. But if you want to play here at Texas, you're going to be coached hard and you're going to be scrutinized. And that's,
you have a magnifying glass on you completely.
Absolutely.
Darius, Jay Moore. He was actually on campus last season, and apparently he was just dominating coverages last season. So I'm just glad that he's gonna be able to do that on Saturdays. Dudes, what about Gideon? Oh yeah, Gideon was getting death threats, I think.
Yeah. It's no different than the kid that missed. I don't know the kid's name, But the kicker that missed, I've mentioned it now in the last few videos, the kicker on Alabama that missed that field goal in the Iron Bowl, you know, that's not the same as being a normal student, bro. I'm
Which
telling
one?
you,
The kick six or the
no,
this
no, no,
last
no.
one? This
This
last year?
last one,
Okay.
this last one that
I was
missed
like,
it,
because the
right?
kick six, that's all on Saban. He
No,
shouldn't
no,
have
no,
kicked
no, no,
that.
no, no. I'm not talking
Yeah,
about that. No, no, no. I'm talking about the kid that missed. I think it was like a 40-yard field
yeah.
goal. I think it was less than 40 yards. And he
Hmm.
missed it, right? And you know, and people are like, they should yank his scholarship. He shouldn't go to school here anymore. So things of that sort. But moving off of that, going back positive, I want to wrap this video just going back to Quinn and the progression of our program just over the last few weeks, where we were so down with the Brockermeyers and the development aspect, but now we get to leverage a Mike Yersich. Now we get to leverage a Tom Herman and what they've shown in the development area with the quarterback room, and landing a guy who has all the talent in the world. I'm looking forward in high end. Quinn Ewers is the first Quinn Ewers. We're not comparing him to Matthew
Hmm.
Stafford. We're not comparing him to anybody else. He has that potential. And this is a video and this live and all the excitement is based around potential. And so that's why we're excited. That's why we're here tonight to talk about it. And
side note, that potential is off the charts.
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We definitely want to end positively, because this is, we're ending the week with knowing that as of now, we're still going to have football. We're ending the week that we might have a young stud in Troy O'Mary who is turning heads in camp. We're ending the week that we might be competent on special teams this year. I'm not going to get off the special team stuff.
I just want to say, I love how that's a positive that we might be competent on special teams. That's a positive for you? Is like we might.
I mean, I got to see it.
I know.
I would
Yeah.
like to have, I would like to be a threat in punt return. Man, back in the day, we used to be like, I used to look forward to kick return.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, we about to house this one, Aaron Ross or whoever it was, right? All the guys were fighting over who could get back there to return a kick. And even going back, they showed, shout out to Longhorn Network, they've been showing all these games. The Jordan Shipley punt return in the
Tech
Cotton Bowl.
or okay.
No, in the Cotton Bowl against OU, right? Jordan, like Jordan Shipley was one of our top 2 players, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's over there catching kicks and housing them. So like, that's where that's where I want to get back to, where it's like I look up, it's like, you don't want to kick it to Jameson, and because we're saying you don't want to kick it to Jameson, they kick it 30 yards, right? Because they're so terrified. Special teams used to be so much fun. When you see my man Rod B coming off the edge, getting ready to send one, or Nathan Vasher, right? And all these guys that were just out there like dogs covering kicks. That's what I'm trying to get back to with this group. So, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because we have the talent is there, and it's exciting. It is there. And I'm going to keep talking about specials, man. These other schools take it seriously, man. They really do. You don't think Alabama fans get out their seat when Jalen Waddle's getting ready to return a kick? And look how bad, I'm telling you right now, look at the numbers when people start kicking to Jalen Waddle this year. They're going to be kicking the ball all over the damn place because these college punters aren't skilled enough to make a good punt and kick it away from him. So now the field position is going to be stupid. Oh, somebody brought up Ramones Taylor. They showed a clip. Shout out to David Allen on Twitter, who he showed the video of Doc Texas. For those of you who follow him, is one of the best Twitter follows out there, and he tweeted the video of Ramones Taylor fumbling the ball, the kickoff in the Ohio State game. And he was so fast that he picked the ball up and everybody was like down there in the end zone. He ran like 50 yards.
Yeah.
Right. Like even when we screwed up at it, we were still a
good
threat. Right. And he just broke down the sideline at Mach 5 speed. And it's just like, man, I can't wait to get back to those moments where we're, y'all saw, I keep going back when Caden Stearns blocked that field goal in the USC game. Shout out to Dallas Schwartz on here. Right. And we flipped the whole season. Let's get back to that. DJ Monroe.
Oh man, he was the first ever, I think, underutilized player.
Who, DJ?
Yeah, DJ. He was the first of the downfall of the underutilized players. Like,
You know who had a really good career here at Texas and was still underutilized was Marquise Goodwin.
mm-hmm.
You know, he was really good. He was great. Even when we had, what was his name, Brian Harsin, he used them well, him and Jackson Shipley, when Jackson Shipley was like a freshman, sophomore. But we didn't have the quarterback talent to like really take advantage of the deep speed. But man, it's when you get kids with the arm talent of Quinn and the skill level of a Jaquindon Jackson, the skill level of Hudson Card, and you're filling your room up with that, and then you have the guy, General Samuel George Ellinger, who's in there to set the table for everybody, right? And say, hey, this is going to be the way. This is how you grow as a quarterback, setting the table for everybody. Casey Thompson doing everything you're supposed to do as a backup quarterback. Casey Thompson being a team player, because they all, one thing I always talk about the staff, they always talk about how good he is on scout team. Scout team is very important because that's the guy that's getting you ready for the week of what you're going to see. And if Casey Thompson is better than the other Big 12 quarterback you're about to play, it's going to be fun. Because you hear some of the great teams always talk about that. That's why LSU fans are so excited, because they're like, yo, Miles Brennan was good too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they tell me. Or Spencer Rattler in practice. OU fans, right? Even though we had a guy, it's like, damn, this guy was better than the guy we saw on Saturday, right? So it makes the games really, really fun. So I think we're getting ready to wrap here. Unless somebody else has anything we got to touch on, or Tran, you want to touch on anything?
No, I'm just reading some of the comments that make me laugh. General George Ellinger. I didn't know George was his middle name. That's what someone said.
Sam has a great name, man. Good, strong, a name of leadership. One of these days, I have a friend, my friend Lauren. Lauren, me and her are going to get on here because me and her talk about names all the time, like names in sports and coaches and all that, like Urban Meyer or Rain Dakota Prescott. Like, names matter. I've talked about this on the channel before. Names matter. And when you have a name like Samuel George Ellinger, you have to be good. Like, there's no choice. Your name you got to sound like a damn quarterback, right? So those things matter. Those things matter. Colt McCoy, one of the all-time great names. Colt, like, this guy's name is Colt McCoy. He's a Texas quarterback. I know we've had this conversation before, but what's in the name is cool.
Thanks a lot, Cook and Co. Also, everyone read that note too. That note's really good.
Please read that note. Thank you. Hey, Bill, let's chat about right tackle. I know, a lot of stuff going on between Denzel Okafor and Tyler Johnson, how they're going to be utilizing him. It sucks that, Kerstetter's future, because he was our right tackle last season, and with him being so versatile, it's almost like you're filling another position, because he's going to be our center, which is great. And his future from an NFL standpoint, where they're evaluating him, is in the interior. So that's great for him individually, but for the team, we also are now filling another spot. So, Denzel Okafor, who did have a lot of experience there, I believe in 2017 or 2018.
2 years ago. Yeah. So 2018.
Yeah. No, I think 2018 was when Cosme was our right tackle his freshman year. So 2017, Denzel Okafor, right tackle. He struggled. So now, and he's been kind of another guy who's been playing interior, exterior. I actually think Okafor is better interior than on the outside, just with his feet. But I'm curious. Some of my lineman heads, there's some really good people I'm meeting in the community that are great lineman heads. Bill's one of them. In terms of, having that conversation with them, because I was a quarterback and you were a DB, so the offensive line, I know what looks good, but in terms of really evaluating technique and things of that nature. I do want to, talk to some of these guys and see, because that's why a lot of them are high on wanting to see Tyler Johnson take that spot. So, um, I appreciate those conversations. All
Steven,
right.
would you trade? I like this question. I want to answer both of us answer this. Steven, would you trade the Cowboys having a bad season and the Longhorns having a great season, and getting Sam or Texas having a bad season for the boys to get Sam up QB is trash with the boys? What?
Sam or Preston. I don't pick between my kids.
I will. I will.
I mean, but that's me. That's me.
I will. I have witnessed 3 championships from the Cowboys. Give me Longhorns all day, every day. All day, every day. People have asked me that with the Spurs. If you had a choice of one of your
Spurs
teams
is
winning,
different. Yeah.
I was
I mean,
like, the Spurs. I've most of my life they've been good. The Cowboys, I've seen 3. I've seen 3 of the most dominant teams ever from the Cowboys. I've only seen 1 national championship from the Longhorns. So I'd take that all day, every day.
Also, I don't know if y'all can see it, but my Longhorn glass that my
What-
brother-in-law got me.
What's your
And I
drink?
got
What's your drink?
C.H. Taylor.
You're required to say it 4 times.
Checks in the mail for me. No, but the development has to be there. David brought up Andre Carrick, who looks like a Sam Cosmi. People have mentioned the Sam Cosmi starter kit. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm gonna take a drink to the Spurs and Coach Popovich and those guys for the run. The last time they did make the playoffs, fun fact, I was in 4th grade. The last time they didn't make the playoffs. So we've had incredible run as Spurs fans. For those who don't know and want to learn a little bit more about Tran and I, that's how we met. We met
Mm-hmm.
in a Spurs community group chat, and it just so happened we were like, "Oh, you like the Longhorns?" Yeah, and then that's how we became friends.
Mm-hmm.
But we had it was our mutual friend who's in that community. It was his birthday this week, Mr. Joseph Cantu.
Yep.
Who Tran then blamed on his birthday.
I did, because they lost. Everything happened for us not to make the playoffs on his birthday. I didn't blame him. I said I blamed the Philly loss mostly, but I gave about 20% credit to Joe being born on that day.
So shout out to Joe, and Joe is also a diehard Longhorn fan as well, and we love him very, very much. He's one of the nicest people you will ever meet. So shout out to Joe. But we gave him a hard time in the group chat this week. But overall, guys, I mean, yeah, that Philly loss was tough. But we're gonna be back next season. The young boys got the experiences they needed in the bubble. It's unfortunate that the league didn't get Phoenix versus Portland, though, from a grander thing of how Dame and Book were playing. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. I'm here to celebrate Quinn. And I think this is something, just the momentum. The energy is different. You can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you can feel it? When you have all the other fan bases
hating.
Hey. That's when you know something's changing, man. Because people are always gonna hate on Texas because of our brand. That's one thing. But we haven't been this goes to the Sam Ehlinger thing. There are people out there that just don't think he's that good. They think he's overrated. You can't make that argument with
we
Quinn
still need
coming
to make
out
that video.
It's coming. It's the perception of Sam video is coming. Yeah. It's coming, and we're gonna have all these other people that support these teams weighing in on their true opinions of, when
why
Sam
they
Ehlinger
hate
has
Sam so much.
when Sam Ehlinger has a 90+ Pro Football Focus grade, I should say, and they're like, oh yeah, he doesn't belong in the conversation. Even though the film says otherwise, and he's not playing with a defense that Justin Fields got to play with or Trevor Lawrence got to play with. I'm not saying he's as good as those guys as prospects, but as a college quarterback, Sam Ehlinger is outstanding. We talk about it all the time. But the hate, I mean, go check out some of these comments. On Twitter. That's how you know we're starting to make our way back, because people feel threatened. The threat is here. Now we gotta double down on that now and win. The
Mhm.
win's got to be there, right? And the win's got to be there. And Mike's offense has to look good. It's got to be fun, right? We got to be out there dropping the hammer on people. UTEP, they'll be fine. They're going to take the check, all right?
Yeah.
Blow their asses out, all right? I don't want even like what we were doing. We were daddling around at times in the La Tech game. No, no mercy.
Go in, sweep
No
the
mercy.
leg.
No mercy. Because you know what? OU doesn't show people mercy.
No.
LSU wasn't showing people mercy. They were blowing everybody out to smithereens. Look what LSU did to Oklahoma last year.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no mercy. That's where
they were already in the playoffs. They didn't need style points.
Bro, I need that. Bro, I need that 2005 Big 12 championship. Colorado Joel Klatt energy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Klatt said forever. Joel Klatt, by the way, he made a tremendous, YouTube video and everything about the sake of college football for those who haven't seen it. But when he did his greatest teams of all time, he said, I forever have to have Texas #1 because of what they did to me in the Big 12 championship. That's what I need from this team. That mindset, that mentality, that's what the special teams had. Like Coach O, I thought he was crazy the way he was talking at times last year, but his team believed him, right? And then you look back at them old Miami teams, that swagger, that energy, our team. We've seen it before, Tran, with Vince. They showed the video of Vince in the locker room in the OU game before they took the field, and everyone's still kind of nervous because we hadn't beaten OU in a while. And the year before they had beaten us, I think 12-0. And he's in the locker room like rapping and singing. It's just dancing, like, yo, we about to whoop some ass, bro. Get ready. Are you? And looking at people like, get ready, bro. These dudes have no chance.
Yeah.
Right. That's the energy that has to be infected into this team, and I think we have the guys to do it personally. Guys, I really appreciate everybody that contributed and has been the chat box has been phenomenal. Really, really phenomenal tonight, and so many great comments. And like I say, I learned a lot from Tran. I learned a lot from you guys. There's certain things, I'm not a football, I'm a fan. That's why this channel is Fanatic Perspective. This is a community. So everybody that chimes in here, we learn from each other and we just share our perspectives and try to be as informed as possible. But, there's times where y'all put me on to certain players or say, hey, you need to check out this guy's huddle tape. I think he could do something. And I'll try to give my opinion as best I can. But, it's exciting time tonight. And Tran, thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. And everyone, don't forget, tune in tomorrow to RJ's channel, and Mr. Stephen Ngotti will be featured on there.
Absolutely. And when I have the ability to, post and whatnot on that, I'll let y'all know. And, I'm excited to, I'm a fan of RJ, especially as a content creator and what he's grown on his platform. So just the ability to speak with him, hopefully we're able to pull that off. I believe it will be a live discussion, so you guys will be able to participate and chime in there. But I'm gonna call in long-time listener / viewer, first-time caller, Stephen Ngotti from Austin, Texas. So excited. I believe it's gonna be 2 p.m. I think we're thinking about 2 p.m. But if you're subscribed to his channel or get the notifications, you'll see it pop up. But excited to be on a, he has a much bigger platform than we do currently. So excited to be there. Yep. TFT said no mercy. Same thing, right? No mercy. So guys, we're growing, and make sure you guys subscribe to y'all see Texas Football Talk here in the comments right now. Make sure you subscribe to their channel. They're doing a really, really great job, and they've been consistent doing lives, posting, as well as their social media content. Edward Stoker,
he doesn't.
I
hate
love
Texas.
You, man.
I'll be honest with you. He doesn't hate Texas. He does a lot of. He actually does a lot of positive content on Texas too. So,
Mahomes 15. Are you a Tech fan? What are you?
No, he's a Sooner.
He's a Sooner.
He did post something about, I can't wait to see what's their quarterback's name. I get him confused with Oklahoma State's quarterback.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
See, look, we got a ton of Sooners in here.
No, I appreciate you guys, man. I was gonna make a comment here on something that somebody just said. Now, at some point, we're gonna have to, I want to do a roundtable. We'll probably, we'll have to reach
Rattler,
out to the
Spencer Rattler. There
Spencer Rattler. Yeah, I'll have to reach out to the Lockabees and we'll get TFT on here and do another roundtable with those guys. And I like how they break down, especially their trench work talk. So, guys, I appreciate everybody. And make sure when you guys are following some of the paid folks on social media, your Eric Nollins of the world, your Anwar Richardsons, your Justin Wells, your Taylor Gaspars, all these people that are working hard, like this is what they do. This is their profession. This is not my profession. Make sure you show them some love and just be appreciative to what they do, working the beat every single day, getting content for us, getting information for us. So whatever platform you are or you subscribe to or you network with, just be thankful for those guys. But we're gonna sign off, and y'all will see or hear from me tomorrow in some capacity. We'll have the announcement on RJ's channel. But thank you guys, and I can't leave without saying it. Horns always up. Appreciate y'all.